and you pull on that jersey, you represent yourself and your teammates. And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back. Get that through your head.
And here we go.
And it is no good. He missed it. Are you kidding me? The season can't end like that.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Some goofball in a hat and a red shirt. Now he takes off the shirt. He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs to the 50. He runs to the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms, bare-chested. Somebody stop that man.
Welcome back to NETMA, otherwise known as Nobody Ever Tells Me Anything. I'm your host, Tyler Falk. Welcome back to the program. Our 6th episode since the return. Week 3 and all of its craziness has subsided by this point. And we are going to have, hopefully a little bit of fun. Hopefully a little bit of discussion, and hopefully I tell a lot of either good stories, good opinions, or you guys laugh at me some more about my predictions and opinions, but that is what this show is for. Okay. So last week, right? We were talking at the end of the show a little bit more on the Motor City situation. We were talking about, just in general, what I thought of the Motor City situation, and all of a sudden at the end of that show, the league announces its ruling, stating that, and I quote, "In lieu of coach dismissal, Motor City has been fined $100. They were given a choice of punishment. And I want to break that down just a little bit more, because it was a live commentary over on The Streets Are Talking on Thursday. The show got continually pushed back due to life situations and work situations. So now I'm going to take a full segment to discuss it, because it needs discussing. Dave and the crew gave their opinions last night after the Monday Night Cam and Paul Spectacular. Eddie and Chad had a chance to discuss it. I'm sure Ashley will discuss it on her upcoming show, maybe just a little bit. Mike O'Neill, Jacob Clear, and Fox Highwind will discuss it on their show as that new program gets up and running. Great to see more content in the SFL. I'll talk about that more in the People's Presser. But now it's time for me to really give my honest take on it. Now, most of you will know that I'm a massive supporter of this league. I'm a massive supporter of Cam and everything that he does. He does a lot for this league. Of course, he's the commissioner, but you seeing every single game, every single official league function, event. He has a lot on his plate, and then he has to deal with a couple thousand different personalities, and he has to deal with people, which is the case with any type of organization. But for one of the few times in this league that I have been a part of since late 2020. I think the ruling to give Motor City a choice in discipline was far too lenient. Let's discuss that a little bit more. We've had a couple of big league-wide controversies during the league, just like any other league, just like any other organization goes through. Most recent one being Shan Varner and the Chicago Wildcats organization. More or less, that situation involved many real, maybe true, maybe false players created on different teams controlled by Shan. It resulted in a season-plus long suspension and the loss of organization for the clear breach of protocol. The clear breach of you are one person, therefore you have one player, and due to his gross overstep of his role, gross overstep of his personality, his authority, Shan was suspended. He was not given a choice in what the league decided to do with punishment in that regard. Shan has completed his suspension and now coaches with the Carolina Skyhawks. What baffles me is it's not even a decision by the league. It's not a clear ruling. Motor City was given a choice to let Drew Reilly go as coach of Motor City or take a fine. That's like robbing a store and the judge says to you, pay the amount you owe back, or we take your hand. I'm sure 99 out of 100 people would take the fine rather than your hand. So why was Motor City given a choice? That's a question that was not answered. Why were they given a choice? When I watched back the show, Cam quoted Drew saying, "Oh, I felt so bad. He was sick to his stomach. He was physically ill for what he did." Of course he would be physically ill. Anyone would be physically ill if you got your hand caught in the cookie jar. But why were they given a choice? For one of the few times when you have to make a decision, you give it up to the people who committed the act. They got to take the punishment into their own hands. Now, me and Cam are great friends, but Cam, there needs to be clear decisions. Yes, the game is new. But according to the investigation, Drew knew what he was doing. It wasn't, oh, we're just still trying to figure things out. If that happened in the official sim, how many times did it happen in the sim before the game? How many times did he see that? We may never know. We may never know if it exactly happened like that in the sim. The fact that it happened, though, the fact that it had to come to something like this. Drew Reilly made the choice to have one player in a formation. So instead of making a decision, Motor City was given a choice. The decision to give a team a choice in punishment will forever now be a precedent in league discipline from Thursday for the rest of the league until it changes in SFL regulation. It sets SFL legal precedent to give teams, players, and organizations a choice in punishment from the league. It was an egregious act. An act which cost the Jacksonville teams a victory, a chance at victory. I won't go as far to say that Jacksonville should be given a win or that game should be wiped from the books. But it doesn't sit right with me. Going over and over again. Yes, the Motor City flustered me, and you could make the argument that it's a new game. In fact, that's what I originally did. That is what I originally did when I saw the situation. When I heard of the situation. The choice for me, the decision to give Motor City a choice, though, is not right in my opinion. Here's the other thing, though. As far as the monetary value goes of the fine, the $100, I have no problem. If you look at what it takes to run a franchise through an entire season, league dues, $100 is more than 30% of a fee, the dues for a season in the SFL. So even if they just wanted to fine Motor City one game, they did more than that. That is the point. And I know that Drew had said that he was upset with what he did. And he's even telling me personally now that he was okay with a forfeit at halftime. And so I commend Drew for that. For him stepping up at halftime and saying that. But it doesn't take away from the fact that Motor City was given a choice well and truly after the fact, after the investigation. There was no clear judgment. The league commissioner wiped his hands of the situation, basically, is what happened. And that's where I have a problem with it. We'll recap week 3 coming up after the break. I'll field all your questions. If you want to know how to submit a question, you can go ahead to the program's Discord server, down the link to which is down below, the NETMA Discord server. There'll be a tab called Show Questions, and you can go ahead and type your show questions in there. Also, huge thank you to all 155 plus of you that are subscribed to the channel. If you want to subscribe to the channel and get updates about the league and all that kind of fun stuff, from my personal opinion, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you like what you heard so far, or like any bit of what you heard so far, go ahead and hit the like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. All right, we'll be back in a minute with more NETMA. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the program, otherwise known as NETMA. I'm your host, Tyler Falk, and I mentioned it before. Yes, Drew offered a, back to the point about Motor City being offered a choice. Yes, Drew offered for a forfeit at halftime, but the game was continued apart from that. Again, I commend Drew for attempting to offer a solution, but in the end, the solution was to continue the game and to give the team that infringed on league principle a choice in their own punishment. So that's where we sit today. That is where we sit. Sit after that. So love to hear your thoughts either in the YouTube chat here or over in the NETMA Discord server. We'd love to have you. A link to which is down below in the description. A pretty fiery opening to this edition of the program, and there'll be plenty more talking points to get to, and we can talk about that in the People's Presser, talk about it in lightning round after pick'ems, but it's a hotbed of an issue. It is not an easy issue, and I'm more than certain that Cam didn't make the decision, didn't take the ruling lightly, but in the end, in my opinion, is the league did not make the right decision. So we'll leave it there for now. Now we get to league week 3 recap here in the program. We're going to quickly break down each and every game and go from there. Starting off with the Florida Atlanta 42-28 in favor of the Storm. Atlanta, a lot better showing from them this weekend than their first 2 weeks, and it was good to see them start to formulate a more comprehensive offense. In the end, Florida comes away with another solid victory. My front runners to begin the season continue to show why they are back. They started out the expanded back in season 10 when the league had just hit a new system, a new era of the SFL. They started off hot from seasons 10 to 12, of course winning all 3 championships in those seasons. They're starting out hot again. The correlation being made to in season 10, they started out hot, winning the first 3 games, plus they started out hot again here in season 21. Last time they did that was when they won a championship. So Florida playing very well and taking away their 3rd victory. Carolina and Queen City and Carolina, very defensive battle. From all points considered, the offense is struggling a little bit in that game. Though Charles Blanton nearly 80% completion percentage in that game. Matt South having a bit of a harder time, though. They relied heavily on that run game. Both Matt South and Ike and the fullback Hanzo getting involved. Hanzo with 16 carries. Now, if I remember correctly, I think Ike went down in that game, as that's where Hanzo took over for a little bit, scoring a touchdown as well in that game, and had the longest run of the ball game, 33 yards on the ground. And so Carolina sneaks away in that one, if I remember correctly, getting an extra field goal to win the contest. A solid game to start off that Saturday block. If we go on now to more contest over on Saturday. Portland takes down Mexico City. Mexico City unable to really do anything a part of that game, except come away with a 3-point loss. One of the tightest losses again for Motor City. Just can't seem to find the winning edge in Portland. The Boats have themselves a solid victory over in that one. The Kent Classics and Motor City V8s finish off. The Motor City V8 asterisks finish off with a 3-point game. There was someone who was saying in chat, I don't know whether it was in a game chat or general chat, I don't remember who exactly it was, but saying the North is a powerhouse. We have 2 teams that are 2-1. And I'm looking at Motor City, I'm looking at Canton, the 2 teams that are 2-1. I'm thinking to myself, you have one team that's a known cheater, cheated to win a game, and you have Canton who beat said cheater team and barely escaped an overtime game with Louisiana and then lost their first game. All decided by one score. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I have a team that I am a firm supporter of that had a lot of their games win or lose within a score, within one touchdown from a certain other league, a certain Minnesota team. That team ended up making the playoffs, but they didn't do so well in the playoffs because they were known frauds. They had a certain quarterback, which I dislike very much, and should not be on the certain team's roster. But the Vikings were frauds last year. Just be honest with it. Am I muted? Please don't tell me I'm muted. Please don't tell me I'm muted. Because I can... Am I muted? Am I muted? This is going to derail the entire game because I don't want to have to repeat my... I don't want to have to repeat my my whole spiel on Motor City. Because that was long. Not muted. Balmer just playing tricks on me. Okay. Alright, cool. Alright, thank you, Jay Balmer. You scared me for a second. Alright, back to the classics and the cheats. Let's see. As far as the North are powerhouses, no. They are not powerhouses because, again, like I said, on one side you have a cheats that won one game and got lucky versus Carolina now in hindsight, and then you have Canton who, again, you look at who they played, they barely beat two of the teams. They beat a cheater. So, no, North are not powerhouses. Moving on to Houston, Indianapolis. I said Houston should beat Indianapolis. Houston was down low in the power rankings. We'll get to that here in 5x5 coming up after break 3. But no, Houston won, and they'll be happy to hear they're probably in a more respectable spot. Though no matter what I say, nobody likes where they are in my power rankings unless you're number 1. So there's that point. Denver and Sioux Falls, probably one of the best games out of the weekend from two teams we really didn't expect. Denver, a young, talented squad, and Sioux Falls really didn't know what to do. So here's the thing. With that game. I mean, it's a very high-scoring game. Defense need not apply in that game, and the offenses come away with a Sioux Falls comes away with a solid victory. A game that did not live up to the hype, though, is that Minnesota-San Diego game. Are we sure Minnesota should have lost to Alamo City? Or is the San Diego game versus Arizona a bit of a fluke? Because San Diego had no takeoff in that game. They had no spark. The engines failed to fire in that game, and Minnesota rolled away with that game. All right. People are continuing to make fun of my blank background. There is something in the works. I hope to maybe have something back there soon. The reason why my photo from my old studio is not in there because I'm planning for something back there. But yeah, for now it's a white screen. And AC is definitely a better team, a better team, and you'll find out where they sit in the power rankings here in due course. Yes, Mr. Lee, their check engine light for San Diego was not only on for Indianapolis, but was also on for the Mavericks. Moving on to more games. Jacksonville, Jacksonville. Well, sorry, Charleston. Even though you can make a couple of insane interceptions, Jacksonville needed a team to take their anger out on, and you just happened to be in the way. So Jacksonville maybe should be 3-0 because of a certain team that they didn't get away with it, but they will forever have an asterisk for the rest of the season as far as I'm concerned. But OJ Bruin looks much better in this game. He looks much better in this new era, and it's good to see Jacksonville back on the up and up. 2-1 for them. Charleston, just again, unfortunate they ran into a very tough, a monster basically in Jacksonville. How about this game? Baltimore and Louisiana, all the way down to the wire, all the way down to the last pixel. In that game, Baltimore, they're no longer dominant, but they snuck out a win. They are no longer a team that can just waltz into any stadium and win, as Utah nearly found another way to come back and tie that football game. Has any field goal kicker missed yet? I don't think so. I can do some quick research on that here rather quickly while we're taking a look at a game that really wants to be broken down a whole lot, and that's Arizona and Seattle. Slugfest. Seattle dominated that third quarter, really tried to put Arizona away, but they kept... I mean, it was a fantastic game. Ty Patak stayed clean. A fantastic performance from Patak in his rookie season. Only had 2 incompletions on the night, 3 touchdown passes, and then Baloo Scott had a night. 215 yards on 39 carries, 2 rushing touchdowns for Baloo. 2 receivers get over 100 receiving yards for Seattle. Arizona has 2 receivers hit over 70 yards. That's Will Todd, PJ Punk. 5 touchdown passes for Ashley Jackson. Honestly, go check out the highlights. What a fantastic ball game for both of those clubs. We'll get to the kicker analysis here in the People's Presser. For now, I want to press on and get to the final game of the night, Vancouver and Las Vegas. Now, I wasn't able to watch this game in its entirety, and the stats just haven't been updated just yet. So what I can take, just a basic leaning from this game, is Las Vegas fell flat on offense, and that's something that isn't new to Vegas. They will sometimes have games that go their way, and sometimes they'll come out like this. They're a very much a scrappy team, a spunky team. But Vancouver, after getting an extra week to prepare for, was able to come away with victory number 1 of the season in the new, well, they say Kings Coast Dome, but it's the Delta Dome now, as christened so far this week. So that's your week 3 recap. A solid group of games this weekend. A much better, in fact, the weeks 2 and 3, besides an asterisk game, solid game. Much better games than week 1. And yes, we did have a blowout or 2, but all being told, week 3 provides the goods again. All right, when we come back, People's Pressers, get your show questions in, and then at my Discord server, and we'll see you here in just a moment. This is NETMA live on YouTube. We'll be back. And welcome back to the program, otherwise known as NETMA. Glad to have your company. I'm your host, Tyler Falk. And now it is time for The People's Presser, where you, the community, get to ask me, Tyler Falk, all the questions you have about the SFL from week to week. So, again, the hot topic being Motor City, of course, but we've got so much more to talk about, so many more questions you get to put me on the spot about, so let's go and get after it. So it started out with Cliff Allen earlier yesterday with the first question, and I think I pretty well and sufficiently answered it, but he asks, what is my read on the Motor City fine or consequence of choices? Think Goldilocks, A, too little, B, too much, or 3, just right. 1, A, too little, easily too little. Too little in the form that they were given a choice. Actually, just right in terms of the monetary fine. But the fact that they were given a choice, A, too little. His next question, with the recent influx of podcasts, and I use that term with quotes intentionally, do you have any recommendations, thoughts on media saturation in the market, the more the merrier, etc.? I personally think the more podcasts, the more opinions that we get out about the SFL, the better. Easily the better. Because not everyone is going to like what I have to say. Not everyone is going to like my opinion or how I go about my show. Let's take Access Live, for example, now transitioning into Access After Dark, which takes place after every Monday night game. That might appeal. A much more in-depth and opinionated post-game show where, Dave Axis is a personality. You have bullet points, which I'm maybe sad not to be a part of, maybe not. Well, you can ask Mr. Bullet Valetsky about that one, but again, it's a show that people like. Ashley Jackson's 3-hour-long show regularly has a lot of interviews, has a lot of different personalities on her show, and they really get to, she gets to really have a more wholesome take on the show. And that appeals to people, right? So they go check out her show. Mike O'Neill around the SFL. Mike O'Neill, Jacob Clear, Fox Highwind. It's a show that can come in and appeal to people in their own right. Like what Mike O'Neill has to say, like what the other two have to say. That might be a show for you. Every show is different. The more opinions, the better, because you get to say your opinions. I wouldn't mind if we had a show every single hour of the SFL. Every single hour of the work week for the SFL. Because every single one's opinion is different. So if you have an idea for a show, or you want to be part of the beat writing team and put your opinions up on the SFL or the SFL website, go for it. That's the best advice I can give you, is go for it. Give us your opinion, give us your take, give us your facts. That's the best advice I can give to you. Dissect the Arizona-Seattle game. It was a good one. Of course it was. Already did that a little bit. And yes, special teams! Thank you, Cliff Allen. That is forever a meme. Let's see. Eddie asked, I posted the power rankings for the first 3 weeks in the power rankings channel. That does not include this week's power ranking. I have been very backlogged and trying to get a whole bunch of stuff out to you guys. Again, I haven't gotten the segment shows like I promised you guys. That's on me. I apologize to you, the viewers, to you, the listeners, for not getting that done. That is on me. And I promised I'd be posting the power rankings every single week in the power ranking show. I haven't done that. That's on me. I apologize. I'm just trying to catch up. So another question, or maybe a statement here from Nicholas Frossel. I do not understand the excuse that we couldn't replay the game because it is a slippery slope and people will ask every week. This was a rare occurrence where a team was actually fined, so this is not a people will ask all the time scenario. So for me, it was You only get, unless it's a power outage, which is in the SFL regulations, a game cannot be replayed. Now, I also don't agree that it is a slippery slope, because you look back on every single game and you find evidence of cheating. You just go back and replay the game. It alters. It's an extra sim. It's an extra league documented sim. So I don't know about giving them an extra game. I think if you were to make a choice, I think wiping the game and having Motor City forfeit would be better instead of having to replay the game. Because then you allow Motor City to redirect their playbook and re-game plan from a game they've already seen. So, no, I don't think a replay would work for any scenario. What would my punishment be? I would still have done the $100 fine, but I would also I wouldn't have given them a choice. I would have done both. I would have at least suspended Drew Reilly from coaching at least for the rest of the season, and given them a $100 fine. To send a clear message that cheating is not tolerated, cheating is not allowed, and we will provide a firm disciplinary response. So I would not have given them a choice. I would have given them both of the options, since the game was played out in its entirety. So that's my personal opinion in that regard. How is that actually enforced, though? As far as a suspension goes, you suspend Drew Reilly entirely from the league. He's not allowed to participate in any league function. As far as that goes, exactly how do you know is he not coaching? So that's the thing. You remove him from the server. You remove Drew from the server. Just the same way it was done for Shan in that type of environment. Same it was for Mike Gall in what happened with Mike Gall. So that's how you attempt to control that regard. Let's see. There's a lot of discussion going on now in the show questions about what's going on. Doug Day says, thoughts on should we start over on stats records wise? New game, new era? No. And the thing about that is, yeah, it's two different games, two different eras, but it's still the same SFL. These are players that have not been completely revamped. These are players that have been taken from a system and converted into this new system. So, no, I disagree that this should that we should separate the stats. Yes, it'll look a little bit different, but I disagree with that. I miss around the SFL with Nelson Lozano, as says Eddie Gage, and I do too. I miss Nelson's voice. He was the first. He was the first interview I had with a podcast. My first show ever appearance on was on Access Live, but the first person that I had an interview with specifically about being in the SFL was by Nelson, and being able to old-fashioned radio call in for. I miss Nelson Lozano. I miss talking with Nelson Lozano as part of a show. He should bring back around the SFL. Now I know his work makes that hard to do. His job, his title makes that really hard to do. But I'd love to see around the league with Nelson Lozano back. Let's see what else. What other questions do we got? Oh, there was a question by Doug Day. Has any kicker missed yet? Now, oh, come on. Are they not going to show it on here? It's going to be under defensive stats, or here we go. You have to click. So the website's a little finicky. You have to click in. see that there is not a single kicker with a miss. Every single extra point, every single field goal has gone through the uprights. There has not been a single kicker that has missed a field goal. So that's solid new era for kickers at the moment. Yes, it's already more than halfway over. Back to brag. You can always catch the replay of the first two segments back here on YouTube, here on NETMA. Still plenty of more time for questions. Still plenty more time to go and put them in the show questions channel on the NETMA Discord server, link to which is down below in the description. Or if you just want to type your question in the YouTube chat, you can go ahead and do so as you see fit. Got about 3 minutes for some more questions. Let's see. Mickey Malillo says, I think the Motor City punishment should have been removal of coach. Or the fine plus any loss of tiebreaker that comes to the playoffs. Again, that's giving the team a choice. I unfortunately don't disagree with that, but if it was or one or the other and given to them as the official ruling that the league decided on, then I would agree with. But that's where I stand. That's where I stand. Okay, who else got a question? 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes to go here in the People's Presser. When we come back from break 3 here in a little bit, go over power rankings, which is the 5x5 segment, and then lightning round. I'll quickly go through anything I might have missed, any questions I might have missed, and I'll go ahead and go through some pick'ems before the who you got is gone on. Let's see, what else? What else can we talk about? This is going to be I was going to hold off on this until we got to power rankings, but the best way I can describe where my head is for week 4 is, or how the power rankings turned out for week 4 is chaos. You're going to see a lot of chaos. Tyler's annoyed by my question. No, Ray, where's your question? I'm so sorry. Where's your question, Rochelle? What about other teams that went over the 70-30 ratio? Here we go. Okay. Some teams have done it more than once this season. What should their punishment be? Now, the official ruling is 3 or more, or 3 plus. 3 in a row. That's the official league ruling. So no team has done it more than 3 times. There's been a couple teams that are close, but there are situational based reasoning for some teams being over that scenario. You take some teams that are blowouts, and reasonably, teams are running the football toward the end of game more than not, and it shows in the official discrepancy in the official league posting. That's also in the Motor City ruling that shows the team was in the ratio prior to the fourth quarter when they started to run out the clock. So, yes, I think so far so good. Yes, there are teams that are close and more things to keep an eye on. All right, 5 power rankings and pickers when we come back. You're on NETMA. Stay tuned.
Level 20, fuck a penny for your thoughts. For the many, not the few. 1% a thing of law.
All right, fourth and final segment here on the program, otherwise known as NETMA. I'm your host, Tyler Falk. We welcome you back for the last 14 minutes and change of this Tuesday show, as far as the program goes. All right, so power rankings, chaos. I'm going to talk about 5 different teams, but I'm going to show you the power rankings because chaos. Chaos. Lots of big movers. Lots of big movers. So let's talk about the team that had a lot to say. That's Damon Simeon and the Houston Headhunters. Now, he's criticizing my math. And he was criticizing me math on Ashley Jackson's show last weekend. So I did a little bit of extra research. All right. Here's the thing. I only saw them in one game. Yes, they had a bye week last season. His argument was they're a much better team than they were last week. Than they are with a whole bunch of one and one teams or what have you. Okay. So I did a little bit more groundwork into looking up where Houston should be. When taking a look at Houston, when taking a look at the Headhunters, as far as teams that have only played 2 games, they have the best offense. They have the best scoring offense in the league, with 79 points for, if I remember correctly. I have the stats in front of me, so I'm looking that up right now. Not 79, 73 points for. Okay? When you average that out, so about 35, 36, we'll round up to 37 points on average. You add that to their current points for total, saying they would play an extra game, and on average, they would score about 37 points. That would put them at 110 points for. When you compare that to the rest of the league that has played 3 games, excluding a team that cheated their way to get to where they are the 5th best scoring offense in the league. So, pretty good offense. They've won both their games, haven't lost a game. As far as defense goes, if I remember correctly, if I did my math correctly, they're about the 7th best points against defense in the league. On average. If you average out their points. So, because of the caliber teams that are playing, they beat Indy and they beat... I have it up here. They beat Sioux Falls, which are 2 in my power rankings. They're 2 of the lower rankings. 2 of the lower rankings in my power rankings. So I'm not ready to put them in the top 5. Even though they're 2-0. And yes, Arizona has a loss. Minnesota has a loss. And Seattle has a loss. But I'm ready to say that Houston is definitely a better team. Because you look at the teams above them. Seattle, for example, had to take down Arizona to get that game. Arizona went into the Nemasphere and played tough. Played really tough. So Houston, again, they need to beat, I think, a better quality opponent. I think we'll get them. We'll obviously move them up in the chain, but I think a big jump here in the top 10 for Houston is a good point. Nemesis, where have they come from? But they are definitely going places. 2-1 out of the gate to really solidify themselves, to really put themselves on the map. A statement victory against Arizona. Now, a lot of people are already saying, Hunter's saying, Vegas at 24, that's crazy. Is it though? They're 0-2. Vegas is 0-2, guys. It's not as bad as saying, what's Vegas 0-2? Where's Benny Hill when you need it? Where's Benny Hill when you need it? Herp da derp. All right. We'll do this on the fly because it's not supposed to be Vegas. Who am I missing? We've got Atlanta, Tulsa, Vegas, Mexico City, Portland. Canton's on there. Houston's on there. The Cheats are on there. Indy's on there. Vegas is on there. It's supposed to be Denver. Okay. It's supposed to be Denver, not in the Vegas slot with a -2. So, okay. That makes a lot more sense. Vegas at a -2. So, that underneath Los Angeles should be Denver after the loss to Sioux Falls. Yes. Yep. There we go. Herp to derp. Mr. 2-10. Can't put 2 and 2 together. All right. Someone needs to come out with... someone needs to help me produce the show. Because obviously I can't do it. All right. So that's your power rankings. Talked about a couple teams. Didn't get to 5. Yeah. That's... Florida is... Art. Look at number 1, buddy. Look at number 1. Florida's missing. So who's at 23? Oh, no. I'm still missing a team. Okay, we're just going to go through this again. Denver, Queen City, Seattle, Jacksonville's on there. Baltimore's on there. Carolina's on there. Charleston's on there. Okay. All right. Okay, DC's not on there. I will get DC on there. Probably not going to move a whole lot because I don't think DC played this weekend. No, that's who I'm missing. DC. Okay. So, DC last week was in the ninth spot. They're going to stick in the 9th spot. Every team, Baltimore on down, will probably move one more down. So, here we go. All right, so DC's in there. Revised power rankings coming out later tonight. All right, let's move on. That took a lot longer. That's a lot more 5x5. 5 teams in 5 minutes. Here we go. All right, moving on. It's a quick lightning round for pick'ems. Let's go ahead and get to it, shall we? All right, Sioux Falls versus Minnesota. Sioux Falls coming off a win. Minnesota been dominant at home. Minnesota will take that victory, in my opinion. Charleston and Queen City. In that one, Charleston looking to bounce back after lost. Queen City looking for their first win. Let me go with the Corsairs on that one. Speaking of the team, I forget, unfortunately. Yep. I'm gonna hear it. I'm gonna hear it from Destro. I'm gonna hear it from Destro. I'm gonna hear it from a lot of folks in DC. But I'm gonna go. Louisiana took Baltimore to task. DC's tough at home. I'm going to go out on a limb and give it to the Revolution on this one in a very tough game. In a very, very tough game. Portland and Denver. Denver look pretty spunky for a young team. Portland look decent. I'm going to give it to Portland in this one. Arizona, Indianapolis. Indianapolis is struggling. I'm giving it to Arizona in this one. I think they're just they're clearly a better team than Indy at the moment. It's going to take a lot for Indy to win at home versus Arizona. Look for Arizona to take them to task again. Look for another. If it's close, look for Arizona to pull that out. Seattle and Los Angeles. The Nemesis are gonna go into LA, but LA looks a little wary of opponents now. And Seattle better not think this is a trap game. I think this might be a trap game for Seattle. Give it to LA in this one. Alamo City, Houston. Undefeated artillery. Houston undefeated. Huzo has got to go. That's a good game to watch this weekend on one of the first games on Sunday. Hopefully it doesn't turn out the same way that Minnesota and San Diego did, though I don't think so. Alamo City with a... Let me see. Where does Alamo City's offense stack up? Actually, they're one of the worst scoring teams with an undefeated record. In fact, they are the worst team in total of points for an undefeated team right now. Let's go Houston in this one. Let's ride the Houston train. Though Alamo City does like to keep it close. There's a factor into that, but I'm going Houston in this one. Baltimore Canton. Baltimore is going to show why the North is overrated at this point. Baltimore easily will beat Canton. Vancouver and Mexico City. Legion bouncing back. Mexico City desperate for a win. Delta Dome looks like a defensive paradise for Vancouver at the moment. Give it to Vancouver. San Diego and Las Vegas. Does San Diego bounce back after getting hit in the mouth like that versus Minnesota? Really hard to tell at this point with Las Vegas. Let's see. We'll go San Diego in a toss-up. Final game is Fort Worth Toros and Tulsa Desperados. Go Toros in a defensive game. Toros will win, and that is my pick'em. So I think it's Minnesota, Queen City, Louisiana, Portland, Arizona, LA, Houston, Baltimore, Vancouver, San Diego, and Fort Worth. Those are my pick'ems for week number 3. All right. Did I miss anything? What else did I miss besides not putting DC on the power rankings and how much shenanigans I'll be getting in chat? Next week, tentative show will be for next Wednesday. The plan is to keep it on Wednesdays. I know I've been jumping back and forth due to a bunch of different things going on in my personal life, going a whole bunch of things in my work life. So I deeply apologize to the rest of the content community for the SFL. But again, I'm trying my best here to keep a regular schedule. I deeply apologize to those that I have affected going on. My game of the week. That's a great question, Eddie Gage. That Houston Alamo City game is definitely my game of the week. If it weren't for, I don't usually do shout outs for personal life, but I'm going to, because I'm not going to be I'm not going to be able to call a game this weekend because I'll be attending my sister's wedding. And I'm a huge shout out to my sister Gabby and my future brother-in-law Niall. I wish them both nothing but a happy day. It should be a very nice day up in Minnesota on Saturday. So shout out to them, but I won't be able to call a game this weekend. So I'll be watching Alamo City Houston on Sunday and right along with everybody and seeing where that game goes. But Houston versus Alamo City, in my opinion, is the game of the week. A game that I think everyone should be watching due to will the defense of Alamo City keep it tight, or will Houston, with the best offense or the 5th best offense in terms of points scored, come away with the victory? So that's for me. So let's see. I missed anything else? No? Besides DC? Potential other meme? There we go. What is Brett going to do? He'll survive. He's been looking to get away from me. I'm from the wrong side of the border from him, so he'll probably team up with Jacob Clear or something. Maybe he'll do play-by-play or something this week. But so that is gonna do it. It's gonna do it for me and Buck. I think Buck's hiding around here. Doug Day's been summoning. Buck, you're being summoned. How dare you disappoint us? Where are you? Oh, well, maybe next week on another edition of the program, otherwise known as NETMA. Special thank you to everyone who came out tonight live, and thank you for watching back. If you're watching a replay of tonight's show, thank you for tuning in. If you want to hit the subscribe button, and if you like what you heard tonight, go ahead and hit the like button. That would be greatly appreciated. If you want to know more about the Simulation Football League, the link to their official website is down below, which also has the link to the Discord server, I do believe. And of course, if you want to catch more NETMA, want to stay in tune, link to the Discord server is down below. Well, have a great week 3, and we'll see you next week. Until then, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, ladies and gentlemen.